All right, if you've ever dipped your toes into Oracle Integration Cloud, you've seen these two words everywhere, adapters and connections. But what's the real difference between them? It might seem small, but trust me, getting this one concept right, well, it's the key that unlocks the entire platform. So today, we're going to break it all down.
So let's think about the big picture for a second. The whole point of an integration platform is to solve one massive headache, right? You've got Salesforce over here, Oracle ERP over there, some custom APIs, maybe an old school database. I mean, how on earth do you get them all to talk to each other without hiring a huge team to write custom, brittle code for every single link? It's a huge challenge.
Well, the way OIC handles this is actually pretty genius. And it's an idea they borrowed straight from the world of programming. So for any of you coders out there, this is going to be your big aha moment. The whole thing, and I mean the whole thing, boils down to the relationship between a class and an object. To really get our heads around this, we're going to use one single analogy for this entire explainer. Just think about the difference between a blueprint for a house and the actual house that gets built from that blueprint. Keep that in mind because it's going to make everything crystal clear. Okay, so look at this. On one side, you've got the adapter. That's your blueprint. It's the generic, reusable template that knows how to connect to a certain type of thing, like a REST API or a database. Then on the other side, you've got the connection. That's your finished house. It's the specific real-world instance that uses the blueprint to define exactly what you're connecting to. One is the how, the other is the what.
All right, let's dive a little deeper into that first piece of the puzzle. We're talking about adapters, our reusable blueprints.
So an adapter is basically a pre-built template or a driver. It's the thing that does all the heavy lifting, all the complex behind-the-scenes magic for a specific technology. You know, you don't have to become an expert on the entire Salesforce API, for example. Nope, you just grab this Salesforce adapter, and OIC already knows how to speak that language.
And IOC comes with a whole toolbox full of these blueprints. You've got your universal ones like the REST and SOAP adapters, which can connect to pretty much any web service out there, super flexible. But where things get really powerful, that's with the application-specific adapters for SaaS platforms. Think about it. The Oracle ERP Cloud Adapter already knows exactly what an invoice looks like. It knows the fields, the structure, everything. That pre-built knowledge, it saves you an absolutely incredible amount of time.
Okay, so if the adapters are the blueprints, what about the actual houses we're building? Well, that brings us to the other side of the coin, the connections. These are the configured instances.
A connection is what you get when you take one of those adapter blueprints and you start filling in the blanks. You're adding all the specific details. Suddenly, it's not a generic template anymore. It's a solid, concrete configured link to one single real-world application. And what kind of details are we talking about? Well, it's all the critical stuff you need to actually make it work. Things like the specific URL you need to hit, the security info, your API keys, your username and password, and maybe even stuff like an agent group if you're connecting to something on-premise. It's this unique mix of details that makes a connection, well, a connection.
I love this quote because it just nails it. The REST adapter is the driver, that's the how. A REST connection is the specific setup with the URL to say google.com and the API key you need to use. That's the what. See? Blueprint versus the actual thing.
Okay, enough theory. Theory is great, but let's actually see how this works in the real world. Let's get our hands dirty and walk through creating our very first connection, step by step, right now.
So, to keep things simple and really clear, our goal is to build a real working connection to a public API. It's just a simple to-do list service. This is the perfect example because it's a real endpoint out on the web, but it doesn't require any tricky security setups, so we can focus on the core concepts.
Okay, first things first. Inside the OIC console, you're going to head over to Design, find Connections, and click that Create button. Easy enough. Now we need our blueprint, right? So we'll search for the REST adapter and select it. Then, we just need to give our connection a good descriptive name and tell it what its role is. Basically, can it kick off an integration, or will it be called by one? Or maybe both.
All right, now for the important part, filling in the details. We're going to grab that connection URL for our to-do list API and paste it right in. And since this is a public API, we'll set the security to no security policy. And then here it is, the moment of truth. We click that test button. OIC goes out, pings that URL to make sure it can talk to it, and boom. Once we get the green light, we hit save and we're done.
And that's it. Just like that, you've actually done it. You have configured and successfully tested a live connection to a real service out on the internet. Seriously, This right here, this is the absolute fundamental building block for every single integration you will ever build in OIC. What you've just built isn't a one-time thing. It's a reusable asset. That connection we named, it's now a configured object sitting in your OIC instance, ready to be used. You can literally drag and drop it into any integration flow you want, either to kick things off as a trigger or to call that API as an invoke. It's in your toolbox, ready to go.
You say this whole model, separating the blueprint, the adapter, from the finished building, the connection, this is what makes OIC so incredibly powerful and fast. It lets you reliably connect to pretty much any system you can think of, reusing your work over and over and building really complex stuff with total confidence. So really, the only question left is, now that you understand how to connect to anything, what are you going to build first?